Good afternoon, everyone. Today I will present my study. My study topic is analysis of the fluctuation characteristics and influencing factor of soybean price in China. This presentation will be divided into 5 parts. The first part is about the introduction. This part is mainly about the problem of the Chinese soybean market and the research objective. There are still some problems with the development of the China soybean market. To sum up, there are 3 problems. Firstly, the demand for soybean is growing too fast and the gap between the supply and the demand is expanding. Secondly, the imports are increasing and the dependence on the international market is gradually growing. Finally, the soybean price fluctuates frequently, affecting the farmers' incomes. Soybean price are core variable connecting supply and demand. In order to stabilize soybean price and keep them within a reasonable range of the variations, we need to understand the characteristics of the soybean price fluctuations. In addition to examining and analyzing the factors influencing soybean price fluctuations, and based on this factor, we will make relevant policy recommendations for the development of the soybean industry. The Chapter 2 is focused on the background state of the soybean market and the theory and the related literature. China is one of the major soybean producing countries and suitable for soybean cultivation. This is the total amount of the Chinese soybean import over the past 20 years, and the demand for the soybean has been growing until 2018, when it began to decline slightly due to external factors such as the trade war, African swine fever. Let's look at the price mechanisms in the China soybean market. The price formation mechanisms refer to the process and manner in which price interact with the various factors that influence and constrain them in the process of the production and exchange of the goods. Under a market-oriented price formation mechanism, prices are mainly determined by the market supply and demand. Price, supply, demand interact to determine the price that buyers and sellers are willing to accept, track influencing production and business decisions and consumption behavior. China's soybean market is the market-based price formation mechanism. Next, we need to know the important factors that have an impact on the soybean price. Let me see the chart below, which is about the China soybean consumption demand. The domestic demand for the soybean had increasing significantly, and the total consumption has increasing from 1919 to the 2019 has an increasing of the 8.8 times. That we can know that the demand is also an important factor in determining price, and change in demand will cause the price to move in the same direction. Net impact is about the related commodities. The soybean has a wide range of the substitute products and may indirectly affect their price by influencing the supply or demand for soybean. One of the substitutes for the soybean is corn, and when the farmers make planting decisions, they adjust their acreage to maximize profits based on the year-to-year ratio of the soybean and corn. The final impact is about the international effect on the price of the soybean. China is the largest importer of soybeans in the world. Therefore, the Chinese soybean market price are influenced not only by the supply and demand, but also by international factors. International factors mainly include the international soybean price and the exchange rate. The China generally accepts only the international price formed under the auspices of the Chicago Board of the Trade in the U.S. in the international soybean market. Finally, it's about the related literature. There are many factors that affect the price of agricultural products. There are a wide gap between the different scholarship views on which is the key factor. The presents about the market supply-demand relationship. In this view, the balance among the consumption, supply, demand, and the product inventory is related to the price fluctuation of the agricultural product. The real truth is about the future market price as the primary influence. There are the particular relationships between the future price and the spot price. The future market plays a role of the price discovery, that the future price constrains the useful information about the spot price. The next chapter is about the methodology. The first is about modules. Why choose the arch family module? The study of the volatility from the view of the module. Volatility research modules are generally used in the parameter module of the conditional heterodacity modules. The next is about the module. In total, there are 4 modules, all of which can be used to present the characteristic of the price fluctuation, but have different points. The arch modules use the autoregressions to characterize the variation conditional on all currently available information. Gauge and the arch modules are the generalized forms of the arch module. The next is about the indicator selections. There are 6 variables in total, was chosen based on the price influencing factor in Chapter 2, with the DCE as the future market influencing factor, CBOT and the exchange rate as the international factor, supply and demand factor as the net import, and related commodities influencing the factor as core price. Here is the special note on the issues of the contract for the both future, CBOT and the DCEs. The DCE contract is for a contract period of the 2 months, so the related coordinates are used to link the all delivered months to the soybean 1 contract. So, which month will be as the periods? The CBOT contracts are similarly. The next is about the price equations. Due to need to prevent the extreme fluctuation in the data, the natural logarithm speed of the soybean price was taken to the introduced soybean price returns volatilities. The RT as the object of the study, and this is a price equation, and the PT and P minus T, the T is as the period. The next is about the unit row test. Before constructing the arch family module, test whether the mean or the conditional heteroscedasticity of the time series changes with the time. The series is non-stationary, and the commonly used stationary test method of the time series is the ADF, the unit row test. The following are the results of the test. All the data has been converted to stationary state. This is the ADF test result. We can see that all the variables has been stationary. Homoscedasticity in Variance. Due to the appearance of the heteroscedasticity in the forecast error of the agricultural price and yield in the agricultural market, which is an essential issue in the arch family module, Whether there is an arch effect, the arch Ln test is the general used to test whether there is an arch effect in the ratio of the module Lagrangian multiplies test. This test ordinarily hypothesizes there is no arch effect in the residual theory up to p order. The fourth part is about the empirical result. In this chapter, will be divided into two parts. The soybean prime volatility characteristics. The arch family model are the most commonly used model in practice. Arch, gauge, and T-arch are used to determine whether the soybean price fluctuations are characterized by the clustering, high risk, high return, and asymmetries. The clustering indicates that the soybean price has significant clustering purpose, and the large fluctuations are followed by large fluctuations. The high risk, high return investment in the soybean farmer is A to A gain returns, and the presence of the character makes it more attractive for the capital investment. However, in some cases, the actual returns may be lower than the expected return, and this is the risk. Asymmetries. These characteristics refer to the asymmetries between the degree of the impact of the bad news on the decline of the soybean price and the degree of the impact of the good news on increase of the soybean price. There are many in cases where the sound news has been great impact. This is the result of the gauge, and the T-arch modules. And the results show that the soybean price volatility has the clusterings and no high risk, high returns, and no asymmetries. After studying the characteristic of the soybean price volatility, the next step is to examine the factors that influence soybean price volatility and understand which factor has greater degree of influence on soybean price volatility. Since there are also studies on volatilities, the arch family model is continued to be used for this study. Before running the module, we need to confirm the order of the module first, and the module only makes sense if there is an arch effect. We can see the result. The arch effect exists between the orders 3 to 8. That means the arch module and the gauge module will be tested from the orders 3 to the 8. This is the result of the arch and the gauge module. The arch 3 and the gauge 5-3 are the most stable module in the orders 3 to 8. We can see the module result and the absolute value of the both AIC and the BIC of the two modules. The arch modules are the slightly larger than the gauge 5-3, so the arch 3 module is the better. This is the final result of the Arch 3 modules. We can see that the previous soybean price, which has significant positive impact on the soybean price volatility, and the two future market DCE, CBOT also have a significant positive impact on the soybean price volatility. The coefficient on the net import is significant and has a negative impact. The final part is about the conclusions and the recommendations. The analysis of the soybean price volatility and the influencing factor in China leading to the following conclusion. First, soybean price volatility has significant characteristics implying that the fluctuations are predictable. suggestion an increasing in the intensification of the soybean cultivation. Second, the soybean market does not have the characteristic of the high risk and high returns. Therefore, it's important to do a good job of the risk avoidance and transfer, and steadily improving returns. Third, the soybean price volatility is not asymmetric. The government should do a good job of the contrary information to the world cause the massive price fluctuation. The main factors affect the soybean price volatility are the prevent the price of the soybean, the price of the DC soybean CBOT, soybean price, and the net import. The soybean import tend to the multi-countries, make the full use of the reserve of the soybean to adjust the supply of the soybean on the market. That's all of my presentation. Thank you.